Well, good morning. It's Thursday morning. It's February the 17th. And once again, the weather has changed. Anyway, once again, I can hear the wind. It's howling outside. I mean, it's blowing pretty good. And of course, it's out of the north today, and it's going to be cold. And, but we have received some rain, and we feel so blessed that God has given us some rain, and we'll get through today. I know that's true, and so anyway, this morning I want to share with you a devotional. It's simply entitled "Overcrowded." We're once again talking about the parable of the sower. That's where the basis of this comes from this morning. They tell me I've never been to Israel, but I'd sure love to go and see it someday. But if the Lord allows that, but they tell me that in addition to lots of rocks, there are a lot of weeds in Israel, and weeds. They hinder the growth of seeds, whatever it is, you might plant or, sow. And, in the parable of the sower, Jesus, he talked about, seeds that fell among thorns. And, immediately the thorns, they choked them out. And then Jesus, said something interesting in Matthew 13:22. He said, "Now he who received seed among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful." What this does, this describes someone, that seems to be growing spiritually, but they gradually walk away because, other things become more important. It isn't necessarily bad things, but it's the worries of this life. It's the concerns of this life, that seemingly take priority in their lives. And there's really, there's nothing wrong with being concerned about putting food on the table or a roof over your head. Taking care of our families. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with thinking about the needs and the necessities of life. But you see, Jesus, he was describing someone who allows those things to become more important than the things of God, than God Himself. They believe it's good to read the Bible. They believe it's good to pray, and to go to church. It's just that they don't do it, and it's a choice that they're making. As someone has once pointed out, the second best can often be the worst enemy of the best. I was there at one time. I was running from the calling that God had for me. I was going to church and doing all the quote right things, but I wasn't doing the right things ultimately. Jesus also said that the deceitfulness of riches choke the word. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, we find an interesting verse about wealth, and it's in verse 10. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." You see, you and I, we ultimately decide what money will be in our lives. We make that decision. A thorn or a weed that's anything that crowds Jesus out of our lives. And so listen, don't make your life about those things, whatever those things might be. Make Christ your primary focus, instead. I think it's so important for us to remember, in this world, especially now that we're living in right today, there's many things that tempt us to take the place of what what the real thing is, and that's staying close to God every day. You know, and I know I probably sound like a broken record when I say it, but that's why it's so important to stay close. You know, reading God's Word, you know, having that quiet time with God every day is so that He can continue to fill our minds and our hearts with His Word. And when we do that, we stay closer to Him, and we can weather all these temptations to follow what the world wants us to follow. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you're encouraged today by the Word. And remember, Angie and I, we love you guys, and we're praying for you. And Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless you.